Hello everyone, my name is Dhanya and today I'm going to discuss about UML modeling. First of all, let's understand what is UML. UML, which stands for Unified Modeling Language, is a standardized modeling language consisting of an integrated set of diagrams developed to help system and software developers for specifying, visualizing, constructing, and documenting the artifacts of software systems, as well as for business modeling and other non-software systems. Why UML is used for modeling? It is because it uses graphical notation to communicate more clearly than natural language, which is imprecise, and code, which is too detailed. It helps to acquire an overall view of the system. UML is not dependent on any one language or technology, and it allows to move us from fragmentation to standardization. UML modeling can be done in three different ways with the help of structural, behavioral, and architectural diagrams. Structural diagrams defines the static features of a system, behavioral diagrams defines the dynamic features of a system, whereas architectural diagram is the blueprint of the entire system. So let's have a look at these one by one. Structural diagrams shows the static structure of the system and its parts on different abstraction and implementation levels and how they are related to each other. The elements in a structural diagram represents the meaningful concepts of a system and may include abstract, real-world, and implementation concepts. Types of structural diagrams are class diagrams, object diagrams, deployment diagrams, package diagrams, composite structure diagram, and component diagram. The behavioral diagram shows the dynamic behavior of the objects in a system, which can be described as a series of changes to the system over time. Types of behavioral diagrams are activity diagrams, interaction diagrams, and use case diagrams. So as you can see, architectural diagrams are the combination of both structural diagrams and behavioral diagrams. So these are the types of UML diagrams I will be explaining one by one along with the help of examples. Please note that these are only the subset of all the UML diagrams, but are the ones which are most widely used. So the first one is use case diagram. A use case diagram describes the system's functional requirements in terms of use cases. It is a model of the system's intended functionality and its environment. Use cases enable you to relate what you need from a system to how the system delivers on those needs. The core components of the use case diagram are actors, use case, and system boundary. Actors represent the role that a user plays with respect to the system. Use case defines a set of scenarios that describes the interaction between a user and a system. System boundary is a rectangle diagram representing the boundary between the actors and the system. Now let's have a look at the core relationships of a use case diagram. First is association. It is the communication between an actor and a use case. It is represented by a solid line. Second is generalization. It defines the relationship between one general use case and a special use case, which is used for defining special alternatives. Generalization is represented by a line with a triangular arrow heading towards the parent use case. Now, this is the example of the use case diagram for a library system. There are three actors, that is client, employee, and supervisor. Client is the primary actor, and employee and supervisor are the secondary actors or the secondary users of the system. Here you can see the three use cases over here, and this is along with the system boundary. This association represents the communication between the actors and the use cases. So this use case diagram is a generalized description of how a library system will be used. It also provides an overview of the intended functionality of the system. Now, the second type of diagram that we are going to discuss is class diagram. The class diagram is a central modeling technique that runs through nearly all object-oriented methods. This diagram describes the type of objects in the system and various kinds of static relationships which exist between them. So let me explain how a class representation is done. Each class is represented by a rectangle which is subdivided into three compartments, which is name, attributes, and operations. Name is simply a class name which can be anything. Attributes are the properties of the class, and operations are the functionalities performed by the class. Then, modifiers are used to indicate visibility of attributes and operations. Plus is used to denote public visibility, which is visible for everyone. Hash is used to denote protected visibility, which is visible for only the friends and derived classes. Dash or hyphen is used to denote private visibility, which is not visible for anyone. By default, attributes are hidden and operations are visible. This is an example of a class which is drawn in a class diagram. First is the name of the class, which is account name. Then comes the attributes of the class, customer name and balance. Then comes the operations or functionalities of the class, which are add funds, withdraw, transfer. And these operations are having public visibility modes. So this is the example of a class diagram. This diagram is an example of an order system of an application. It describes a particular aspect of the entire application. First of all, order and customer are identified as the two elements of the system. They have a one-to-many relationship because a customer can have multiple orders. Order class is an abstract class and tests two concrete classes, special order and normal order. It shows us the inheritance relationship between them, as order is the superclass and these are the subclasses. The two inherited classes have all the properties as the order class. In addition, they have additional functions like dispatch and receive. Now, the next type of diagram that I'm going to discuss is interaction diagram. From the term interaction, it is clear that the diagram is used to describe some type of interactions among the different elements in the model. The purpose of interaction diagrams is to visualize the interactive behavior of the system. Visualizing interaction is a difficult task. Hence, the solution is to use different types of models to capture the different aspects of the interaction. Hence, sequence and collaboration diagrams are used to capture the dynamic nature, but from a different angle. Following things are to be identified clearly before drawing the interaction diagram. Objects taking part in the interaction, message flows among the objects, the sequence in which the objects are flowing, and object organization. Hence, the sequence diagram and collaboration diagram, both of which are the interaction diagrams, are used to capture the dynamic behavior of the system, to describe the message flow in the system, to describe the structural organization of the objects, and to describe the interaction among the objects. So first of all, let us understand what is a sequence diagram. Sequence diagram emphasizes on time sequence of messages. It captures the time sequence of the message flow from one object to another. Let's have a look at the example of the sequence diagram of an order management system. This sequence diagram has four objects: customer, order, special order, and normal order. The following diagram shows the message sequence for special order object, and the same can be used in case of normal order object. It is important to understand the time sequence of message flows. The message flow is nothing but a method call of an object. The first call is send order, which is a method of order object. The next call is confirm, which is a method of special order object, and the last call is dispatch, which is a method of special order object. The following diagram mainly describes the method calls from one object to another, and this is also the actual scenario when the system is running. The second interaction diagram is the collaboration diagram. It shows the object organization as shown in the given diagram. In the collaboration diagram, the method call sequence is indicated by some numbering technique. The numbering indicates how the methods are called one after another. We have taken the same order management system to describe the collaboration diagram. Here, the method calls are similar to that of a sequence diagram. However, difference between the sequence diagram does not describe the object organization, whereas the collaboration diagram shows the object organization. To choose between these two diagrams, emphasis is placed on the type of requirement. If the time sequence is important, then the sequence diagram is used. If organization is required, then collaboration diagram is used. And the last type of diagram that I'm going to explain is state diagram or state transition diagram. State diagram shows the sequences of state an object goes through during its life cycle. So here is the example of the simplest state diagram for a billing system. This represents the starting phase and this represents the ending phase. When an invoice is created, the initial state is unpaid, and after the payment is done, the state is changed to paid. And then the invoice destroys and it comes to the end. This was the example of a state diagram. These are some of the UML modeling tools which can be used to draw the diagrams which we have already discussed. Rational rows by IBM, AgroUML, Microsoft Vision, etc. These can be used to create the various UML diagrams which we have discussed in detail. Thank you.